What separates Delta Force from other elite military units? Welcome to the Peak Performance Podcast by me, Brad Young. In this episode, we explore the legendary Delta Force, officially known as 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta, and uncover the specific principles and tactics that elevate them above other elite military units. More importantly, we'll show you how to implement these same strategies into your daily life to achieve peak performance, both mentally and physically. The Delta Force difference. Beyond physical excellence, Delta Force stands apart from other elite units, not simply because of physical prowess, but due to a comprehensive selection process that tests psychological resilience, creative problem solving, and adaptive thinking under extreme stress. While Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, and Marine Raiders are all exceptional warriors, Delta's selection emphasizes cognitive flexibility and independent decision making at levels that exceed most military training programs. The selection process itself reveals the difference. Candidates face deliberately vague instructions, constantly changing requirements, and scenarios designed to break conventional military thinking. They're evaluated on their ability to navigate ambiguity, maintain composure during chaos, and make sound decisions when exhausted beyond normal limits. This approach filters for individuals who can think clearly when others cannot, who adapt when others freeze, and who find solutions when others see only problems. What makes this relevant to your peak performance journey is simple. Delta doesn't just build soldiers who follow orders exceptionally well, they cultivate operators who thrive in uncertainty, who turn constraints into advantages, and who maintain effectiveness when systems fail. These same capabilities translate directly to high stakes business environments, competitive athletics, and any pursuit demanding excellence under pressure. Principle one, mental toughness through progressive overload. Daily challenge protocol. Push beyond comfort zones systematically, not randomly. Each day presents a new cognitive or physical challenge slightly beyond yesterday's capacity. Resilience building. Consistent exposure to controlled adversity builds psychological armor. The key is consistency over intensity. Daily small challenges compound into extraordinary resilience. Recovery integration. Delta operators understand that mental toughness requires strategic recovery. Push hard, then recover deliberately to consolidate gains and prevent burnout. Mental toughness isn't about suffering for suffering's sake. Delta Force approaches psychological resilience as a trainable skill with specific methodology. They push limits daily because the brain, like muscle tissue, adapts to progressive overload. Each controlled exposure to stress, whether physical exhaustion, time pressure, or decision making under ambiguity, slightly expands your capacity to handle future stress. The critical distinction here is intentionality. Random hardship builds resentment, structured challenge builds capability. Delta candidates don't just endure difficult experiences, they're placed in scenarios specifically designed to expand particular psychological capacities. One day might focus on maintaining focus during physical exhaustion. Another might emphasize decision making with incomplete information. Each challenge targets specific mental muscles. Building your mental toughness foundation. Implementing Delta's mental toughness principles requires a structured approach that you can sustain over months and years. The foundation begins with establishing what Delta calls baseline resilience, your current capacity to handle stress, maintain focus under pressure, and recover from setbacks. This isn't about comparing yourself to others, it's about honest assessment of where you currently operate. Start by identifying 3 categories of challenge in your life: physical discomfort, cognitive load, and emotional adversity. Physical discomfort might mean cold exposure, extended workouts, or fasting protocols. Cognitive load includes complex problem solving, learning new skills, or maintaining focus during distraction. Emotional adversity involves difficult conversations, public speaking, or confronting fears directly. The Delta approach emphasizes rotating through these categories rather than hammering one repeatedly. Monday might involve a challenging physical workout. Tuesday focuses on learning a complex new skill for 2 hours. Wednesday includes initiating a difficult but necessary conversation. This rotation prevents adaptation to any single stressor while building comprehensive resilience across all domains. Track your responses to these challenges. Delta candidates are constantly evaluated on how they respond to adversity, not whether they succeed or fail, but how they think, adapt, and persist. Keep a daily log noting what was today's challenge? How did I respond initially? What adjustments did I make? What did I learn about my capacity? This metacognitive awareness, thinking about your thinking, accelerates development dramatically. Mental training workout, the Delta Decision Matrix. Week 1 to 2, foundation. 5-minute meditation daily. 30-second cold shower finish, 1 difficult conversation per week. Track your physiological responses and recovery time. Week 3 to 4, progression. 10-minute meditation with distractions, 2-minute cold exposure, 2 challenging conversations. Add problem solving under time pressure for 20 minutes daily. Week 5 to 6, integration. 15-minute meditation, 5-minute cold exposure. Initiate 1 uncomfortable situation daily. Complex problem solving while physically exhausted. Week 7 to 8, consolidation. 20-minute meditation in challenging environments. Full cold showers. Maintain daily discomfort practice. Combine cognitive and physical stress deliberately. This 8-week protocol mirrors Delta's approach to building mental resilience progressively. Each phase introduces slightly greater challenge while maintaining consistency. The key is daily practice. Missing days undermines the cumulative effect that builds genuine toughness. Delta operators don't become exceptional through occasional heroic efforts. They become exceptional through relentless consistency in small, deliberate practices. Principle 2, discipline and structure as performance multipliers. Delta Force operates on a principle that contradicts popular culture's romanticization of elite operators as rule-breaking mavericks. The reality is precisely opposite. Delta's effectiveness stems from extraordinary discipline and meticulous structure. Their ability to appear flexible and adaptive in chaos exists because their foundational systems are so robust that they can bend without breaking. Consider how Delta approaches mission planning. They create detailed contingency plans for dozens of possible scenarios, practice specific procedures until they become automatic, and establish clear protocols for decision making under stress. This preparation doesn't limit creativity, it enables it. When basics are automatic, cognitive resources become available for higher level thinking and adaptation. The same principle applies to your performance goals. Discipline isn't about restriction, it's about liberation. When morning routines are automatic, when training schedules are non-negotiable, when nutrition habits require no decision making, you free massive amounts of mental energy for strategic thinking, creative problem solving, and adaptive responses to unexpected challenges. Delta candidates who succeed aren't those with the most natural talent. They're those who build the most reliable systems. They create habits that drive steady improvement over time because they understand that consistency beats intensity. A good workout performed 200 times per year produces dramatically better results than a perfect workout performed 50 times per year. Structure enables consistency, and consistency produces excellence. Creating your Delta style performance structure. Morning protocol. Wake time within 15-minute window daily. Hydration, movement, mental preparation sequence that never varies. Builds momentum before decision fatigue sets in. Training windows. Establish non-negotiable time blocks for physical training, skill development, and recovery. Schedule these as immovable appointments with yourself. Nutrition framework. Create meal templates that eliminate daily decisions. Rotate through proven combinations rather than constantly reinventing your nutrition approach. Evening routine. Wind down protocol that signals day's end and prepares for recovery. Includes preparation for next day to reduce morning cognitive load. Weekly review. Scheduled time to assess adherence, adjust protocols, and plan upcoming week. This reflection prevents drift and maintains system integrity. The power of this structure isn't in perfection, it's in consistency and clarity. Delta operators know exactly what they're supposed to do and when. This removes ambiguity, reduces cognitive load, and creates a framework that supports performance even when motivation fluctuates. You're not relying on willpower, you're relying on systems. Principle 3: teamwork and communication excellence. Delta Force's selection process includes extensive evaluation of how candidates function within teams, communicate under stress, and leverage others' strengths to achieve objectives. This emphasis surprises many who assume elite operators are primarily individual performers. The opposite is true. Delta's effectiveness multiplies through exceptional teamwork and communication. What makes Delta's approach distinctive is their understanding that teamwork isn't about being nice or getting along, it's about maximizing collective capability through clear communication, defined roles, and mutual accountability. They practice communication protocols until they become second nature. They establish clear command structures while empowering individual initiative. They create systems where every team member's contribution enhances overall effectiveness. For your peak performance journey, this principle translates to deliberately building support systems and collaboration networks. Even in individual pursuits like athletics or entrepreneurship, performance improves dramatically when you leverage others' perspectives, expertise, and accountability. The lone wolf approach might work initially, but sustainable excellence requires collaboration. Delta operators master what's called closed loop communication, confirming that messages are received and understood before acting. They practice giving and receiving feedback without ego interference. They establish protocols for disagreement that preserve relationships while surfacing important concerns. These aren't soft skills, they're force multipliers that directly impact mission success. Implementing collaborative performance systems. Accountability partnership. Establish weekly check ins with someone pursuing similar goals. Share commitments, report results, and provide mutual support. The key is consistent scheduling and honest communication. Expert consultation. Schedule monthly conversations with coaches, mentors, or specialists in your performance domain. Come prepared with specific questions and challenges. Implement their guidance systematically. Peer learning groups. Join or create a small group focused on shared performance goals. Meet regularly to exchange insights, challenge assumptions, and celebrate progress. Diversity of perspective accelerates learning. Feedback mechanisms. Create systems for receiving honest feedback on your performance. This might include video review, performance metrics, or structured input from training partners. Act on feedback promptly. The Delta approach to teamwork emphasizes that collaboration must be systematic, not accidental. Hoping for good teamwork produces mediocre results. Designing systems that enable effective collaboration produces excellence. Apply the same intentionality to your support networks that you apply to your training programs. Principle 4: adaptability as strategic advantage. Delta Force's selection heavily weights adaptability, the capacity to adjust quickly when circumstances change, when plans fail, or when unexpected obstacles emerge. This isn't about lacking a plan, it's about holding plans loosely enough to modify them when reality demands adjustment. Delta operators are taught to expect change, prepare for multiple scenarios, and pivot smoothly when needed. The military uses the phrase, "no plan survives first contact with the enemy." Delta takes this further by building adaptability into their fundamental approach. They train extensively in multiple environments with various equipment configurations under diverse conditions precisely because they know missions rarely unfold as planned. This exposure to variability during training builds adaptive capacity that serves them during operations. For peak performance in any domain, cultivating adaptability provides enormous strategic advantage. Markets change, competitors evolve, injuries happen, life circumstances shift. Performers who rigidly adhere to original plans despite changed conditions perform poorly compared to those who adapt intelligently. The key word is intelligently. Adaptation isn't random course changes, but thoughtful adjustments based on new information. Delta's approach to adaptability includes several key elements: maintaining awareness of changing conditions, quickly assessing implications of changes, generating alternative approaches, implementing adjustments decisively, and learning from both successful and unsuccessful adaptations. This systematic approach to flexibility prevents both rigid adherence to failing plans and chaotic abandonment of strategy at first difficulty. Building adaptive capacity, varied training. Regularly change workout locations, times, formats, and conditions to prevent overspecialization and build broad capability. Scenario planning. Identify potential obstacles to your goals and develop contingency plans. Practice implementing these alternatives before you need them. Constraint training. Deliberately practice with limited resources, time, or equipment. Builds creativity and resourcefulness that serve you when conditions aren't ideal. Feedback integration. Regularly assess whether current approaches are producing desired results. Be willing to modify methods that aren't working regardless of initial investment. Building adaptability requires experiencing variability. If you always train in the same environment at the same time, under identical conditions, you develop narrow capability that breaks when circumstances change. Delta's training philosophy embraces variability as a feature, not a bug. Apply this to your performance training by deliberately introducing productive variation. Principle 5. Intentional physical training. Delta Force physical training differs markedly from conventional military fitness programs. Rather than generic physical conditioning, Delta's approach emphasizes functional fitness directly aligned with operational requirements. Every training session has clear purpose tied to specific performance outcomes. They don't train just to be fit. They train to maintain effectiveness during extended operations under extreme conditions. This principle of intentional training, aligning every workout with clear performance goals, provides massive efficiency gains. Random exercise produces random results. Purposeful training produces predictable improvement in targeted capabilities. Delta candidates might perform a particular strength workout not because it's trendy or because they enjoy it, but because it specifically develops load carrying capacity required for their missions. The same intentionality must guide your training approach. Before beginning any workout, answer this question: what specific capability am I developing today? And how does this contribute to my overall performance goals? If you can't answer clearly, you're training randomly rather than strategically. This doesn't mean every workout must be grueling or complex. Sometimes the goal is active recovery or maintaining base fitness, but it must have clear purpose. Delta's physical training includes several key components: strength and power development for functional tasks, work capacity for sustained operations, mobility for injury prevention and movement efficiency, and recovery protocols to maintain training consistency. Each component receives structured attention within a comprehensive program rather than being addressed haphazardly. Delta inspired physical training framework. Strength foundation. 3 sessions weekly focusing on fundamental movement patterns: squat, hinge, push, pull, carry. Progressive overload applied systematically. Focus on load that can be sustained for mission relevant duration rather than maximum single rep strength. Work capacity, 2 sessions weekly. Developing ability to maintain output over extended periods, circuit training, weighted carries, interval work that mimics operational demands. Gradually extend duration while maintaining quality. Movement quality. Daily mobility work, preventing injury and maintaining full range of motion. 15 to 20 minutes of deliberate movement practice, including joint preparation and tissue quality work. Recovery protocols. Active recovery sessions, sleep optimization, and stress management practices, ensuring consistent training availability. Recovery isn't passive, it's trained deliberately. This framework provides comprehensive physical development without requiring excessive training volume. Delta operators can't afford overtraining that compromises operational readiness. Similarly, you need sustainable training approaches that produce consistent improvement without leading to burnout or injury. Sample Delta style. Weekly training split. This weekly training structure mirrors Delta's approach of developing multiple physical capacities simultaneously while maintaining recovery and preventing overtraining. Each session has specific purpose aligned with performance goals. Monday, strength focus, warm up with movement preparation for 10 minutes. Back squat, 5 sets of 5 reps at 80 to 85% of maximum, focusing on explosive concentric movement. Weighted pull ups, 4 sets of 6 to 8 reps. Dumbbell bench press, 4 sets of 8 reps. Farmer's carry, 3 sets of 40 meters with heavy load. Core stability work for 10 minutes. Cool down and mobility work. Tuesday, work capacity, dynamic warm up for 10 minutes. Circuit repeated 5 times with minimal rest. 400-meter run, 20 kettlebell swings, 15 push ups, 10 box jumps, 30-second plank hold. Total workout time, approximately 45 minutes. Focus on maintaining consistent pace across all rounds rather than going all out initially. Wednesday, active recovery, 30-minute easy aerobic work at conversational pace, swimming, cycling, or walking with weighted vest. 20 minutes of mobility work focusing on areas of tightness or restriction. Foam rolling and tissue quality work. Mental training practice or meditation for 15 minutes. Thursday, strength focus, movement preparation for 10 minutes. Deadlift, 5 sets of 3 reps at 85% of maximum, emphasizing perfect form. Weighted dips, 4 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Barbell rows, 4 sets of 8 reps. Sled push, 4 sets of 30 meters with heavy load. Grip strength work and cool down. Friday, work capacity. Warm up for 10 minutes, 4 rounds for time, 800-meter run, 30 kettlebell swings, 20 burpees, 15 pull-ups. Target completion in under 35 minutes while maintaining good movement quality. This session develops mental toughness alongside physical capacity. Saturday, extended low intensity 60 to 90-minute session at very comfortable pace. Ruck march with 30-pound pack, long bike ride, or extended hike. Purpose is building aerobic base and mental endurance without creating significant recovery debt. Use this time for mental training or problem solving. Sunday, complete recovery, no structured training. Focus on sleep, nutrition, and recovery practices. Light stretching or walking if desired, but nothing that creates training stimulus. Mental recovery is equally important. Avoid work-related stress when possible. Delta-style nutrition framework. Delta Force approaches nutrition with the same strategic intentionality they apply to physical training. Food isn't recreational, it's fuel that directly impacts operational capability. Their nutrition protocols emphasize consistent energy levels, rapid recovery, optimal body composition for functional performance, and digestive health that doesn't compromise readiness. Every nutritional choice serves performance. The Delta approach rejects extreme dietary protocols in favor of sustainable strategies that maintain performance across extended operations. They can't afford energy crashes, digestive issues during missions, or body composition changes that compromise capability. This practical orientation toward nutrition, what actually works under real-world conditions, provides valuable lessons for anyone pursuing peak performance. Foundation principles include adequate protein intake to support recovery and maintain muscle mass under stress, strategic carbohydrate consumption timed around training and operations, healthy fats for hormonal function and sustained energy, micronutrient density to support immune function and cognitive performance, and consistent hydration that maintains performance without causing logistical problems. What Delta operators avoid is equally important: highly processed foods that create energy instability, excessive alcohol that impairs recovery, extreme caloric restriction that compromises work capacity, nutritional approaches requiring constant decision making that creates mental fatigue, and dietary strategies so restrictive they can't be maintained during operations or irregular schedules. Implementing Delta nutrition principles. Protein priority. Target 1 gram per pound of body weight daily, distributed across 4 to 5 meals. Emphasize lean sources: chicken, fish, lean beef, eggs, Greek yogurt. Protein provides building blocks for recovery and helps maintain satiety. Strategic carbohydrates consume majority of carbohydrates around training windows to fuel performance and accelerate recovery. Include rice, potatoes, oats, and fruit. Reduce carbohydrate intake during sedentary periods to maintain insulin sensitivity. Healthy fats include nuts, avocados, olive oil, and fatty fish for hormonal health and sustained energy. Fats should comprise 25 to 30% of total calories. Avoid excessive fat intake immediately around training when faster digesting nutrients are prioritized. Micronutrient density. Emphasize colorful vegetables at every meal, multiple servings daily. Include variety to ensure broad micronutrient coverage. These support immune function, cognitive performance, and recovery processes often neglected in basic nutrition discussions. These principles create a framework rather than a rigid meal plan. Delta operators need nutrition strategies that work across varied schedules and challenging conditions. Similarly, your nutrition approach must be sustainable across real world circumstances, including travel, irregular schedules, and social situations. Sample daily nutrition protocol. This sample protocol demonstrates how Delta nutrition principles translate into practical daily eating patterns. The structure supports training performance, promotes recovery, maintains stable energy, and requires minimal decision making once established as routine. Meal 1. Early morning, 6 a.m. 4 whole eggs scrambled with vegetables, including spinach, peppers, and onions. 1 cup of oatmeal with berries and cinnamon. Black coffee, water. Total approximately 600 calories with 35 grams protein, 55 grams carbohydrates, 20 grams fat. This meal provides sustained energy for morning training and jumpstarts metabolism. Meal 2, mid-morning, 9:30 a.m. Greek yogurt with mixed nuts and apple slices. Approximately 400 calories with 30 grams protein, 35 grams carbohydrates, 15 grams fat. This maintains stable energy between breakfast and lunch while providing additional protein for recovery from morning training. Meal 3, lunch, 12:30 p.m. 8 ounces grilled chicken breast, 2 cups mixed vegetables, 1 cup brown rice, side salad with olive oil dressing, approximately 700 calories with 60 grams protein, 65 grams carbohydrates, 18 grams fat. This substantial meal provides nutrients for afternoon activities and begins preparation for evening training. Meal 4, pre-training, 3 p.m., protein shake with banana and oats, approximately 350 calories with 30 grams protein, 45 grams carbohydrates, 5 grams fat. Consume 90 minutes before training. This meal provides readily available energy without causing digestive distress during workout. Meal 5, post-training, 6 p.m., 8 ounces lean beef or salmon, 2 medium sweet potatoes. Vegetables, approximately 650 calories with 55 grams protein, 60 grams carbohydrates, 18 grams fat. This meal replenishes glycogen stores, provides protein for recovery, and includes micronutrients supporting immune function. Meal 6, evening, 8:30 p.m. Cottage cheese with vegetables or a protein shake if not hungry. Approximately 250 calories with 30 grams protein, 15 grams carbohydrates, 8 grams fat. This final meal provides slow digesting protein, supporting overnight recovery without causing sleep disruption. Total daily intake approximately 2,950 calories with 240 grams protein, 275 grams carbohydrates, 84 grams fat. Adjust portions based on individual body weight, activity level, and performance goals. The meal timing and structure matter more than hitting exact macronutrient targets. Selection mindset, embracing continuous evaluation. Delta Force's selection process never truly ends. Operators continue evaluating themselves and being evaluated throughout their careers. This continuous assessment mindset prevents complacency and drives ongoing improvement. They understand that maintaining elite status requires the same intensity that achieved it initially. Yesterday's performance doesn't guarantee tomorrow's capability. This selection mindset provides perhaps the most important lesson for sustainable peak performance. The moment you believe you've arrived, You begin declining. Elite performers across all domains share this understanding. Excellence requires relentless commitment to improvement, honest assessment of current capability, and willingness to address weaknesses regardless of past achievements. Implementing this mindset means establishing regular evaluation protocols. Delta operators undergo periodic assessments of physical capabilities, technical skills, and operational readiness. They identify declining areas and address them immediately before they compromise mission effectiveness. They don't wait for failure to signal needed improvements. They proactively maintain capabilities through systematic evaluation and targeted training. For your performance journey, create similar evaluation systems. Monthly fitness testing reveals whether training produces desired adaptations. Regular skill assessments in your chosen domain provide objective feedback on progress. Periodic reviews of habits and systems identify areas of drift before they become problems. This systematic evaluation prevents the common pattern of initial progress followed by plateau caused by unexamined assumptions and uncorrected deficiencies. Establishing your evaluation systems. Daily check in. 5 minutes each evening reviewing adherence to protocols, energy levels, and any emerging issues requiring attention. Brief but consistent evaluation prevents small problems from becoming large ones. Weekly review. 30 minutes assessing overall adherence, reviewing training logs, evaluating nutrition consistency, and planning adjustments for upcoming week. Identify patterns in performance and recovery. Monthly assessment. Physical testing, including strength benchmarks, work capacity measures, and body composition tracking. Skills assessment in primary performance domain. Comprehensive review of systems and protocols. Quarterly deep dive. Extended evaluation session reviewing 3-month progress toward major goals. Honest assessment of what's working and what needs modification. Planning for next quarter with adjustments based on results. These evaluation systems transform vague intentions into concrete feedback loops. Delta's continuous assessment approach ensures operators maintain capability because they measure it regularly and address deficiencies immediately. Apply the same rigor to your performance systems. Recovery, the Delta Force secret weapon. While popular culture fixates on Delta's grueling training and extreme operations, their actual secret weapon is sophisticated recovery practices. Delta operators understand that performance happens during recovery, not during training. Training provides stimulus, recovery produces adaptation. Without adequate recovery, increased training just produces fatigue, injury, and declining performance. Delta's approach to recovery is as structured and intentional as their training protocols. They prioritize sleep as non negotiable, viewing it as operational readiness rather than luxury. They implement active recovery practices that accelerate adaptation without adding training stress. They monitor recovery markers and adjust training based on readiness rather than arbitrary schedules. They treat recovery as a skill to be developed, not an afterthought to training. This sophisticated understanding of recovery provides enormous advantage. Most people train too hard during easy periods and don't push hard enough during intense periods because they fail to match training stress with recovery capacity. Delta operators calibrate precisely. They go extremely hard when necessary and recover aggressively afterward. This creates greater training stimulus overall compared to consistent moderate training that never fully stresses or fully recovers. Implementing Delta's recovery practices requires shifting perspective. Recovery isn't what happens when you're not training, it's deliberate practice supporting adaptation. Sleep becomes protected time, not time to sacrifice for other activities. Active recovery sessions become intentional components of training programs. Stress management practices become performance tools rather than self care suggestions. Implementing elite recovery protocols. Sleep optimization. Target 7 to 9 hours nightly with consistent sleep and wake times. Create dark, cool environment. Avoid screens 60 minutes before bed. Sleep is when adaptation happens. Treat it accordingly. Active recovery. Light movement sessions promoting blood flow without creating training stress. Swimming, walking, cycling at very easy pace. 20 to 30 minutes several times weekly accelerates recovery between hard sessions. stress management, daily meditation or breathing practices, regular time in nature, social connection with supportive people. Psychological stress impairs physical recovery. Managing it enhances adaptation. Recovery monitoring. Track morning heart rate variability, resting heart rate, and subjective readiness. When markers indicate incomplete recovery, adjust training accordingly rather than pushing through. Delta operators can't afford to sacrifice long term capability for short term output. Their mission requires sustained readiness over years, not heroic efforts followed by injury and burnout. Apply this long term orientation to your performance journey through sophisticated recovery practices. Putting it all together, your 12-week Delta protocol. Implementing Delta Force principles requires systematic integration rather than attempting everything simultaneously. This 12-week protocol structures progression through mental toughness, discipline, teamwork, adaptability, and physical training while maintaining sustainable training loads and adequate recovery. Weeks 1 to 4, foundation phase. Establish baseline habits and systems. Implement morning and evening routines consistently. Begin mental toughness protocols at introductory level. Start physical training program with conservative loads. Focus on technique and consistency over intensity. Establish accountability partnerships and support systems. Track adherence daily without judgment. Gather data on your current patterns. This phase builds foundation for later progression. Weeks 5 to 8, development phase. Increase training intensity and complexity while maintaining consistency. Progress mental toughness challenges to intermediate level. Add variability to physical training to build adaptability. Implement nutrition protocols more strictly. Increase accountability frequency and depth. Begin monthly assessment protocols. Address weak areas identified during foundation phase. This phase develops capacity across all domains. Weeks 9 to 12, integration phase. Combine all elements in a comprehensive performance system. Advance mental toughness to challenging levels. Implement full physical training program with appropriate intensity. Practice adapting plans based on changing circumstances. Establish evaluation systems and quarterly planning processes. Begin teaching principles to others to deepen your understanding. This phase creates sustainable systems for ongoing improvement. Throughout all phases, prioritize consistency over perfection. Delta operators become elite through daily adherence to proven systems, not through occasional heroic efforts. Missing individual workouts matters less than abandoning systematic approaches. Maintain the long view. Building genuine capability takes months and years, not weeks. Common obstacles and Delta-style solutions. Obstacle: inconsistent schedule. Delta operators face extreme schedule. Unpredictability, yet maintain readiness through flexible protocols and non-negotiable minimums. Create training and nutrition approaches that work across varied conditions. Establish minimum viable versions of key practices that you can implement, even during challenging periods. Prioritize morning routines because those are most controllable. Obstacle: plateau in progress. Adaptation occurs when training stimulus exceeds current capacity. Plateaus signal that current approaches no longer provide sufficient challenge. Delta responds by modifying training variables, addressing weak links, and introducing new stressors. Evaluate your program systematically. Identify limiting factors and target those specifically rather than just training harder. Overall, obstacle motivation fluctuation. Delta doesn't rely on motivation. They rely on systems, structure, and accountability that function regardless of emotional state. Build habits so strong that you execute automatically. Establish external accountability that pulls you forward when internal drive wanes. Focus on process adherence rather than outcome achievement. Obstacle: competing priorities. Elite operators balance mission requirements with family, recovery, and life responsibilities through ruthless prioritization and efficient systems. You can't do everything. Identify true priorities and build systems supporting those while eliminating or minimizing less important activities. Create efficiency in core practices through templates and routines that reduce time requirements. The long game, sustaining excellence over years. Delta Force operators sustain elite performance not for weeks or months, but for years and decades. This longevity distinguishes genuine excellence from temporary achievement. Their approach emphasizes sustainability, adaptability, and continuous refinement over unsustainable intensity that leads to burnout. The long game requires several key elements. First, accept that performance improvement isn't linear. You'll experience periods of rapid progress, frustrating plateaus, and occasional regression. Delta operators don't panic during plateaus or become overconfident during progress. Then they maintain consistent effort through all phases because they understand that long term trajectory matters more than short term fluctuations. Second, continuously refine your systems based on results and changing circumstances. What works during one phase of life or career may need modification during another. Delta operators regularly update tactics, techniques, and procedures based on lessons learned. Apply the same approach to your performance systems. Maintain core principles while adjusting specific practices as needed. Third, invest in prevention rather than rehabilitation. Delta's focus on movement quality, recovery practices, and load management prevents injuries that derail progress. The same principle applies broadly. Preventing problems through systematic attention to fundamentals beats heroic efforts to overcome problems caused by neglecting basics. Fourth, find meaning beyond achievement itself. Delta operators aren't motivated primarily by individual achievement, but by service to something larger than themselves. For sustainable excellence, connect your performance journey to purposes beyond personal gain. This deeper motivation sustains effort when surface level rewards lose their power. Finally, accept that excellence requires sacrifice but shouldn't require misery. If your performance pursuit makes you consistently unhappy, something's wrong with your approach. Delta operators train extremely hard but also prioritize relationships, recovery, and activities beyond their operational roles. You create performance systems that enhance rather than diminish your overall quality of life. Your mission starts now. You've now explored the specific principles and tactics that separate Delta Force from other elite military units and learned how to implement these strategies for your own peak performance journey. The mental toughness protocols, discipline systems, collaborative approaches, adaptability training, intentional physical development, sophisticated nutrition, and recovery practices. All these tools are available to you starting today. Delta Force operators aren't born exceptional. They become exceptional through systematic application of proven principles over extended time. The same opportunity exists for you. Your genetics, your current fitness level, your past achievements or failures. None of these determine your potential for improvement. What determines your trajectory is the quality of systems you implement and your consistency in executing those systems. Begin with the foundation. Choose one principle from this episode and implement it this week. Perhaps you start the 8-week mental toughness protocol. Maybe you establish your morning routine and evening recovery practices. You might begin the training program or implement the nutrition framework. Start somewhere specific rather than attempting everything simultaneously. Remember that Delta's selection process filters for persistence and systematic improvement more than initial capability. They're looking for people who maintain effort through difficulty, who learn from failures, who continuously refine their approaches. Embody these same qualities in your performance journey. Show up consistently, apply lessons learned, adjust based on results, and maintain effort through both progress and plateau. The distance between your current performance and your potential isn't primarily a capability gap, it's a systems gap. Delta Force operators have extraordinary systems supporting extraordinary performance. Build your own systems using the principles shared in this episode. Track your adherence, evaluate your results, refine your approaches, and maintain the long view. Your peak performance journey starts now. Not tomorrow when conditions are perfect. Not next week after you've prepared more. Now, with whatever resources and circumstances you currently have. Delta operators excel at executing under imperfect conditions because they train to be effective regardless of circumstances. Adopt the same approach, begin where you are with what you have, and improve systematically from that foundation. This has been episode 85 of the Peak Performance Podcast by Brad Young. The principles that separate Delta Force from other elite units, mental toughness, discipline, teamwork, adaptability, and intentional training, are now yours to implement. The question isn't whether these principles work. They've proven themselves in the most demanding circumstances imaginable. The only remaining question is whether you'll apply them consistently enough to experience their full power. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, begins now.